we can go. Actually, it starts recording. Facebook is generally a good measuring stick as to when it goes live.
Okay, and then I'm gonna. Do I need to copy link to YouTube?
Go ahead. People are going to be joining us any second now. No pressure. Move quickly. Chop, chop, Sam.
I'm sorry. I suck.
We don't suck at life.
No, I try not to.
Apparently,
Try my best.
You're a shit cat owner.
Yeah, no, he sucks. I don't suck. He sucks.
Taking dumps all over the place.
He does.
No better way to start this podcast while people are actually watching right now. Cat taking dumps all over the place.
You know what? He just gets mad at me for not being home, and then he's like, "What can I do to mess up her life?" And then he just does it.
Okay, so we're live. We'll go ahead and just pick up the cat taking a dump situation all over the place another time. So here's the pause. Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate here on Fantasy Focus, brought to you by the Original Hooters. I'm Derek Tate alongside Samantha Holt. Sam, aside from any cat owner issues that you may have, how are things going post-week 8 in fantasy football?
Post-week 8, things are pretty good, other life issues aside. I'm kind of sitting middle of the road in most of my leagues, which is an okay spot, I think, because I'm in enough leagues where I can make trades at this point. We can talk about that a bit later. I can make trades to fix things. I can work some things. I'm not horrible in any of our leagues, except for our listeners' league.
Yeah, that league you're really bad.
Yeah,
and it's weird because you were so great last year, but this year it's been a little bit different. But anyway, we all have rough seasons in fantasy football. That's fine. We don't have to harp on that. Certainly I've had my rough seasons. Anyway, point is, today what we're going to be talking about, loaded episode here for the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate. We're going to be talking some trade deadline deals that were made, namely Kenyon Drake. He's going to the Arizona Cardinals. Tomorrow night they play the San Francisco 49ers. We've already heard that Chase Edmonds has been ruled out with a hamstring injury. We know that David Johnson is dealing with an ankle injury. So we'll talk about whether or not we should start or play Kenyon Drake tomorrow night or not. And of course, there's a litany of injured players that in your redraft leagues, should you try to make a move for, or if you own one of these injured studs, what are you willing to part ways with them for as we kind of reach that time of year where it's like trade deadline season in most fantasy football leagues. So we want to go ahead and kind of answer some of those questions for you. But we'll start off as the aforementioned top topic, Kenyon Drake to the Cardinals. First off, I don't think you should have been hanging on to this player. I think you should have dropped his ass about a month ago. But if you said Kenyon Drake is getting traded and I'm holding on to him until he lines up in a new landing spot, then guess what? He finally did. So what are your thoughts on Kenyon Drake with the Arizona Cardinals? What are your thoughts on him for this week and even potentially moving forward once David Johnson and Chase Edmonds gets healthy?
For this week, I think he's a good start because David Johnson,
the Niners?
I mean, if you have no other option, if you have absolutely no other option, he's going to be the only guy there. He's the only guy there because Edmonds is out. They're not going to play Johnson despite the questionable thing. He's their franchise running back. They're not going to throw him in there against the Niners. Hey, take a dart throw. If you're in one of those positions in your league where you got nobody, you're suffering on bye weeks. Why not? He's the only guy.
So you're thinking a guy that they just traded for on Monday is going to see more snaps than the like of Zach Zenner, who has already been there for at least 1 week. And if Chase Edmonds is already out, if David Johnson doesn't go, then you really think I'd rather start Zach Zenner than Kenyon Drake this week.
We should do that. Let's do a random DFS this week, and I'll start Kenyon Drake at the flex, and you start Zach Zenner.
I'll happily start Zach. I don't think either of them are worth starting. I think we're both going to be basically both signing up to lose money if we're going to start either one of those players in a league against a San Francisco 49ers defense that, by the way, I mean, holy hell, they just put it on the Carolina Panthers. The only reason that Christian McCaffrey did Christian McCaffrey things is because he's Christian McCaffrey. I really think that the Cardinals are going to struggle to even score any sort of points this week. So I personally, I'm not high on starting any of these guys. But I'll ask you, if no one has picked up Kenyon Drake or if your waiver's clear tonight, would you be willing to drop your entire budget on a guy like Kenyon Drake? Or I feel as if once David Johnson and Chase Edmonds eventually come back, this guy's just going to be a cog in the offense that's going to see a couple snaps here and there. I don't like it.
No, I agree. He's definitely just an extra piece, and he's not someone I would spend my entire free agency budget on. I mean, obviously every league is different, but for me, no. Just seeing how well Chase Edmonds performed with Johnson being hurt, he's, to me, like, if Johnson's not there, the clear number one, and if Edmonds is healthy. I really feel like we're not going to see David Johnson the rest of the year. I don't know about you, but like everything that we keep hearing about him and everything that the Cardinals have been doing with just like grabbing running backs from wherever they can grab them, I think that he must be more hurt than they're letting on.
That may be the case, but why would they rule Chase Edmonds out with a hamstring a day prior to the game if they already know that they're not going to move forward with David Johnson? I mean, if you feel like he's destined for IR, then that's one thing, but I don't feel as if that's the case with him. So that's a great segue into our next segment. By the way, if you're just joining us now on live here, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to hit us with some of your questions in the comment section. We will get to them for Week 9 of NFL action for fantasy football. But as far as David Johnson, an injured stud, there are plenty of injured studs right now that you could get some return on right now for a team that is probably has a winning record that is looking to take a chance and stash away a stud for the rest of for the fantasy football or fantasy playoff push. So I'll ask you, for a guy like David Johnson, if you really feel that way, which I guess I know where your answer is going to go with this, what are you willing to sell him for? Or what are you willing to give up if you're a team that has already almost secured a playoff spot and just wants to load up with studs for the playoff weeks?
So any other running backs that I like more that I'd rather, if I can trade Johnson away for someone, who would I hope to get? Well, obviously I'd hope to get a running back that's in the top tiers. I think I'd like something along the lines of a Josh Jacobs. I'd like something along the lines of a Chris Carson, someone that's been producing steadily that I can count on for playoffs.
I'll ask you this though: if you're a Chris Carson or Josh Jacobs owner, are you willing to part ways with him for David Johnson, to stash David Johnson?
I mean, this to me sounds like also a trade that I'm hopefully going to be giving something else away to this person that's trying to balance this out. You know, it's not going to be a 1-for-1 trade, I don't think, at this point when you're trying to, stock up players to go into playoffs.
If you are. Now, again, this is more so roster specific, I think, because normally if you have David Johnson and you have a winning team, you're just going to wait on him. You're not going to try to trade him. You could, though.
You could.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the approach that if you're a winning team and you want to go ahead and get David Johnson, I'm willing to give up somebody that is probably like a running back 2, running back 3 right now. I'm not willing to give up someone like Chris Carson. Chris Carson's a low-end running back 1. No shot in hell. Same thing with Josh Jacobs. I mean, even when healthy, those guys were about performing on the same level, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
You have to throw average draft position out the window at this point. I mean, at this point of the season, in your redraft leagues, I mean, we're eliminating dynasty or keeper formats out of this. There's no way in hell that I want to give up a player that is performing at the same level for. I'm not going to. I personally, as a Josh Jacobs owner, I'm not giving him up. Now, a more interesting question, I think, would be someone like in a PPR format, maybe like Austin Eckler, who is still performing and is still on the season in PPR formats, a running back 4, which is nuts. But are you willing to give him up to go ahead and try to get David Johnson and have him sit on your bench for a couple weeks, or take the chance that he gets put on IR eventually?
Yeah, that's tough too. And I mean, the Chargers did just fire their offensive coordinator, didn't they?
I believe they did. I believe they did. I don't want to confirm it if I don't know it for 100% effect. And I hate that you hit me with a question that I don't know, because I know everything.
You always hit me with questions that I have to take a beat on. But no, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like Melvin Gordon just hasn't been himself, and like the balance there. I feel like Eckler, I know a lot of people own both shares. So if I technically own both Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler, I wouldn't be so shy to part ways with one of them. So I feel like you could get one of those guys from somebody if they had both.
Yeah, if they have both, certainly, because no one wants to start two players from one backfield, no matter how productive the backfield is, no matter what.
It's not that good lifting. It's not quite like two first names.
Oh, like Hunter Henry, you mean? Like, yeah, it's not like that. But I mean, so Austin Eckler is one name that's certainly interesting to me for a guy like David Johnson. I mean, maybe like a Jordan Howard. Are you willing to give up how Jordan Howard is playing right now for a guy that has the upside of David Johnson? I mean, Howard, even in PPR formats, is the running back 21. So, yeah. I mean, are you willing to give a guy like Jordan Howard?
I feel like Jordan Howard is a good barometer right there for me of like, yes, I would. I feel like I would give up Jordan Howard in my league.
To have David Johnson.
To have David Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Which I'm right around that range too. Mm-hmm. It's just, the price has to be right, which is very tricky to kind of try to figure that out. We already have some audience questions. Of course, Will Jenkins. Look, Will Jenkins is your biggest fan.
Will Jenkins is the best.
Every single week. Willie, free Willie. He's on our fantasy debate show every single week. So, Will, thank you for joining us, of course. Uncle Pete. Derek, so proud of you. Don't make me turn as bright red as this sweater I have on, even though in some of the pictures that Sam's decides to post of us on the Instagrams and the interwebs, sometimes I do have a bright red face. Because
you always wear red and your lighting is terrible. It's not my fault.
I need to figure out how to do lighting properly. Thank you. Kelly, what up, Kelly? Kelly Quinn. So this week, we got our first starter sit question. Good old Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz?
Ooh, Dak Prescott. I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go Dak this week against the Giants. Even in New York, I love that matchup right there. I think that's gonna week 9. That's swing hit homer, nailed it.
I gotta go back Dak in time. You even know what that's from? That's Back to the Future. I'm just replacing the word back with Dak. I mean, I could use the word Dak in other ways to replace other words. No, it's Dak Prescott, 100%. No offense to Carson Wentz having a decent fantasy season. I just against the Texans, which I actually could see that being a higher scoring game than you think. It's actually he's going against the Bears. Sorry, my apologies.
He's going against the Bears. The Bears defense is
so no. I am not starting Carson Wentz against Chicago Bears. I want nothing to do with that Bears defense when your alternate option is a quality quarterback against that Giants secondary. No thanks.
Dak has been connecting a lot better lately, so I feel like this is a good matchup for him.
So we can go ahead and kind of talk about, speaking of connecting, in the future we expect wide receivers like Devontae Adams, AJ Green. And even the likes of Adam Thielen to start connecting with their quarterbacks down the backstretch of this season. But for some of these studs at wide receiver Devontae Adams now is looking like he may potentially miss a 5th straight week.
Yeah.
With a toe injury, which turf toe is the arch nemesis of any skill position player, whether it be running back or wide receiver.
Yeah.
Those injuries tend to ruin seasons and just linger on and on and on and on. So Adams, AJ Green, who had surgery in the preseason, but he's missed now an entire 3 months worth of action. I got to think he's healthy.
Yeah, he's expected back week 10, so he's not expected back this week.
Yeah, well, he's got a bye week this week. So, I mean, that's why he's not coming back until week 10. And
he could decide to play.
There's been a lot of chirping that man wants to be released. He wanted to be traded or released. They won't give him a new contract. So I'm assuming AJ Green, I'm hoping he doesn't hold out. God almighty. If you spend a pick on him in this year's fantasy draft, whether it be somewhere between the 3rd or the 8th round or whatever, I mean, I really hope that he doesn't end up just holding out, because that would be rough.
Yeah, that'd be brutal. But also he got a new quarterback because they decided to bench Andy Dalton. And apparently he got benched on his birthday. Did you hear about that?
I mean,
that just sucks.
I don't feel bad for Andy Dalton. No.
I mean, I don't feel bad for him. He's not a good quarterback and he's just not that great. But still, that just sucks for anyone to, get fired on your birthday.
Have you ever been fired, period?
I have been laid off because the company I worked for ran out of money.
No. It doesn't count. Have you ever been fired?
Oh, I have not been fired.
I've been fired.
That does not surprise me.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean,
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Tell me shots fired.
Okay, just to save me from that moment, Will Jenkins has a wonderful question for us. Thank you, Will, for your questions as always. With my boy Mike Thomas on a bye this week, should I go Marvin Jones, Deontay Johnson, Jarvis Landry, or Mohamed Sanu full PPR?
I'm going Marvin Jones. Mo Sanu, no disrespect to him, I do think he's going to do some nice things with the Patriots, but again, it's incredibly infuriating to try to figure out which Patriots skill position player is going to have a big week or go off. Mm-hmm. So I'm staying away from that. The Cleveland Browns look like a complete mess. I want nothing. It's not that Jarvis Landry is a garbage player. He's actually a very good player. Just I don't trust the Cleveland Browns right now. And then when I swing it around, Deontay Johnson, by the way, has done some really nice things, Will. Like, I want to hold him. And I know.
Do you want to cuddle him? Is that the way you want to hold
him? I want to cuddle him on my lineup, perhaps, but not in real life. You're a Steelers fan. I mean, tell me what you – I mean, for me, it's Marvin Jones for this question, but it's only because they lost Kerryon Johnson. They don't have, like, a consistent running back to lean on a running game, so I think Stafford's going to have to continue to air it out for them to be competitive. And he's playing some – he's a top 10 quarterback right now in fantasy. So for me, I'm going with the guy that's got a hot hand at the quarterback spot, even though I like what I've seen from Mason Rudolph and I like what I've seen from Deontay Johnson, but I'm just not there yet where I'm willing to start him over Marvin Jones, a proven veteran that's got a quarterback that's slinging the ball over the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to agree with you there. I'm going to go Marvin Jones on this list, Will. And I mean, as much as I would totally, big spoon Deontay Johnson, because I'm so happy with how he's been performing for my Steelers, but I'm going to go with Marvin Jones. He's got a great matchup. The Raiders have a very weak secondary, so he's got a good matchup for you. There's some consistency there. We'll go ahead and lock him into your lineup for this week.
So speaking of locking into your lineup for this week, again, we didn't finish all the questions when it came to what you'd be willing to give up. So I'm going to hit you with some either ors for some of these. Would you trade blank player for Devontae Adams, AJ Green, or Adam Thielen? We'll start with Devontae Adams, and I'm just going to go ahead and start hitting you with some of those questions, okay? And this tell me whether you would trade them for that given player. Would you trade DJ Chark for Devontae Adams?
Yes.
I would too. Even though right now, believe it or not, in standard formats, the dude's a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, no, he's been slaying it.
Hard to wrap your mind around that. Courtland Sutton. Would you trade Courtland Sutton for Devontae Adams?
No.
Okay. I hate to continue to agree with you, but I would not do that.
No, because also, I mean, they have – did they bench Flacco? I mean, like, it's just who's throwing in the ball? There's no consistency. I mean, he's a great player, but no, I want consistency, and I'd rather have Adams.
So you're saying you'd rather have Adams than him? So you were also saying that you'd rather have Adams than Chark, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Just tell me who you'd rather have.
Adams.
I'd rather have Adams for the stretch run.
Mm-hmm.
I hate agreeing with you, but
we're not supposed to agree. But
no, it's called the fantasy debate. We're supposed to be arguing here. Will you argue with me, please, Samantha?
You don't look good in
red. So grow up. Another option I'm going to throw. How about Julian Edelman? Julian Edelman or Devontae Adams?
Oh.
Did I lose you?
No,
or are you thinking?
You did not lose me. I'm thinking. I've got the gears turning. Yeah, it sounds crunchy. I don't know if you can hear it.
You do know this is an audio podcast where if you take like a 5 or 10 second break, that people may think that our audio broke.
No, yeah, I didn't die. My audio didn't break.
or you there?
I'll talk this out loud. What you always love about Julian Edelman is he's always going to be Tom Brady's number one. He's his ride or die, so he's always going to have that consistency. So I would take Julian Edelman just for his consistency to take me through the playoffs, especially considering, I would do that.
Okay.
That's me talking out my thoughts. I'm sorry if they were convoluted.
It was a little convoluted, but it's okay.
It's okay. I'm a girl. That's how I think.
Here's what I'm. You're pulling the girl card. Don't pull a goal card. So I'm going to go Davante Adams in this situation.
Okay.
It's no disrespect to Julian Edelman, who I know is the ultimate safety blankie for your boy Tommy Brady.
Oh, don't call him my boy. He is not my boy, but he is definitely a safety
your
blanket.
boy. You're a Steelers fan. You know you love yourself some Julian Edelman.
Well, he's really cute. Not gonna lie.
Okay, we're not going there. I'm not going there. You can go there. I'm not
going there.
Point is, he's still doing his thing as far as PPR value. I mean, the last 4 games he's caught at least 7 balls or more. I mean, that's equal to 70 yards rushing or receiving. I mean, he's still clearly seeing a ton of volume, and I don't think that Mohamed Sanu is going to eat into that all that much. It's the guy that he's looking to move the chains, or in certain option situations where they've got him lined up on a specific matchup that they like, they're still going to go to Julian Edelman. That's who Brady wants to go to. That's normally his number 1 option week in, week out, right? Yeah. I mean, so I get why if anybody doesn't want to go with Adams, that would be the case. But I'm starting to see Aaron Rodgers turn the corner. So for me in particular, Rodgers, who has thrown, 8 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks. My apologies. I'm going to go with the guy that's hitting his stride in this Matt LaFleur system. Yep. And then once you get Davante Adams back, it just sets him over the top. I'm going to go with Davante Adams. I think he's the much better talent at this point in their respective careers. And with Rodgers Rodgers has got a much higher ceiling on a weekly basis as far as producing tutties than Tom Brady does at this point in his career. Yeah,
I agree with you there on their efficiency in yards. So, okay, so who's the next one that we're comparing with Adams, or are we done with Adams?
All right, so we're done with Adams. We're done with Adams.
Done.
The next guy is a little bit more interesting in that AJ Green, because AJ Green hasn't played a snap this entire season.
No.
But we know, do not forget that AJ Green is essentially a bona fide wide receiver 1, top 10 guy whenever he is on the football field.
Yep.
So that when you keep that in mind, it's tough to gauge his value, because if we expect him to be back in week 9, then I want to get him on my roster. But the problem is that he's at odds with his organization, and we haven't seen him play all year. So I'm interested to see who you're willing to part ways with for AJ Green. Fair?
Yeah, fair. Absolutely.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Fair's fair.
So we'll start with fair. Obviously, we're not going to get the higher profile names here, because no one's going to give up the likes of Amari Cooper or Julio Jones, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Terry McLaurin, because McLaurin seems to be a guy that's very hotly contested. Would you rather have McLaurin or AJ Green?
And we're going to go with this as of week 10, because you have to imagine getting someone right when he's healthy. Or I guess if you got him right now, I wouldn't mind.
Say your trade deadline is this week, so you can't afford to make the decision next week.
Okay, I think I would rather have AJ Green than Terry McLaurin. Why? Because for all the reasons that we've introed him, he is a number 1 wide receiver. When he is on the field, he makes plays happen. He's got that speed. He has been very vocal about his recovery and saying, in the first 4 weeks, when someone said, "Oh, well, you'll be back in 2 weeks," he said, "I don't know who gave you the 6-week timeline, because it's going to take much longer." He's been very vocal with how he's doing in his recovery. He's been running a lot faster practice week to week. He's doing a lot better. So I have more confidence now than I did when I first learned about his injury and just his ability to play. So I feel like having that speed, that number 1 guy with an offense that is, I believe, the fastest on snaps in the league, I would much rather have him than Terry McLaurin with the Redskins, who, though he is amazing, he's been doing well for that team. He's the only bright spot on that team. We can all agree on that. I would rather have the upside of AJ Green and that floor, the higher floor, than for McLaurin.
So I was only pushing you because I wanted to.
You want to back me into a corner?
No, I didn't want to back you into a corner. I want to challenge you, Sam.
I see how this is.
I want you to be great. I want to challenge you to be great.
I'm wearing my Spartan shirt. I'm ready to fight you.
You're going one-on-one with the tight one here. Come on, damn it. So, A Rock says this. He's tired of hearing you whine. He's tired of hearing you bitch. He's tired of hearing you cry and moan like a baby. AJ Green's the answer. We'll move on. Next one. I want to quote Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
And now you match your shirt.
Thank you. I'm bright red. So
I look dead compared to you. I look so pale.
You do look pale. You look tan. You live in California. I live in Michigan.
Yeah, but I'm a
freaking tan.
I'm a graphic designer. I work behind the computer all day, every day. This is blue light. This is blue light skin right here.
You spend a lot of time in the gym too. Just there's got to be a tanning bed in there or something. Put on some bronzer before you go on.
Those are bad for you.
Oh, whatever. All right. So how about we again continue to try to figure out what to do with AJ Green. So we've already talked about Courtland Sutton. I mean, do you still feel the same way that you'd rather have Courtland Sutton, or would you rather have AJ Green?
I'd rather have AJ Green than Courtland Sutton.
Wow. Okay. So as much as I want to go ahead and agree with you about that, I've not seen anything from Courtland Sutton that makes me feel bad. This dude's a big play waiting to happen. He's improved his route running from his rookie to his sophomore year. And it seems like he puts up at least 70 yards every single week. I mean, he's been at least 60 plus. I think it's 7 out of the 8 games this season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big body. He's an emerging young talent. And it's nothing against AJ Green, but they just benched Andy Dalton. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the young talent that's been really doing it all season long. I mean, am I saying that Sutton's a better player than AJ Green? Mm-hmm. No, but the one thing he doesn't bring is that risk when it comes to if AJ Green says, bump this, I want a new contract, and I'm not playing until you give me a new contract, then that's where I side with. I've seen enough production to feel comfortable and enough, I would say, competency under center to make me feel like he doesn't give me the risk of somebody like Terry McLaurin because, Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, like I don't trust those guys. I trust Joe Flacco under center. So
see, now this is a really good debate actually, because Flacco's out. He's got a herniated disc in his neck.
Oh, damn, you're right.
So we actually have 2 brand new quarterbacks for both these receivers.
Oh God,
we've got Brandon Allen and Ryan Finley.
Oh, Brandon Allen, not Locke. Yeah, not Locke. Shit.
No, he's on IR
right now. My bad.
But yeah, so this is very dynamic. I still, just based on the play calling in Cincinnati, would rather have AJ Green.
Well, now you bring that up. Yeah, I'm still going Sutton. I've loved what I've seen all season from Sutton, and there's a reason why they traded away Emmanuel Sanders. Sure. I know that may just seem like a very vague explanation why, and I understand that AJ Green is AJ Green. If he was somewhere else, I would feel much better about it.
Yeah, we all wish he actually was on the move at the trade dedeadline. I don't know about you, but I was so bummed on Tuesday when I'm like, seriously?
Why the hell was
I kept hitting refresh. I don't know. I can't answer that because I'm not.
I know you can't. No one can. It's a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical question no one has the answer to.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaker. But we have a couple more questions. Let us roll right into those. Maddie Voles, thank you so much for joining us and for your questions. It's always great to see you every week. If James Conner does not play this week, would you play Jalen Samuels over Marlon Mack?
Over Marlon Mack? No. As much as I think Jalen Samuels is going to have the requisite volume to be worthy of starting in a flex or even running back 2 in a lot of scenarios, I'm not doing it over Marlon Mack. No way.
Not over Marlon Mack, and I believe that the Colts defense has been pretty darn solid. So I would rather have Mack in this lineup. Now, I think this is going to be a very interesting game because I know that Pittsburgh's defense has been performing a lot better of late, but I think I would still, of the two, prefer Marlon Mack.
I'm going Mack. I mean, it's nothing against Jalen Samuels. I'm actually very excited to see what he can do if both Connor and obviously Benny Snell are on the shelf. Yeah, I mean, you're in a good situation if you got to start either of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one more for Matt, going off of what we were just talking about. Sutton and Green will only be as good as the backup QBs that will be throwing to them. Guess I'd rather see how they play first. No, don't blame you there.
If you have other options, certainly. I think
Sure.
that's the logical approach to take to it.
Mhm.
I'm just saying when it comes to studs, though, when it comes to studs, which AJ Green is,
Mhm.
and I guess you can definitely debate whether or not Sutton is, but I feel like Sutton's on his way. Regardless of who's under center, I feel like that theory's been debunked this season, hasn't it? I mean, we saw what Drew Brees go down in week 2. Have
Mhm.
we seen a significant drop off in Michael Thomas's play?
No, not enough that really raised any flags.
I mean, I understand that Juju's been a little bit of a disappointment this year, but I still
But
think
he's on the up
Juju's
because
startable. I mean,
yeah, no, you're gonna start him every week no matter what. I mean, his points have been up and down, sure, but they're steadily on the rise back up again. Like he was kind of petering out. He had a bad week in week 4 with 4 against the Chargers. He did nothing. That really sucked. But coming back from the bye, he had 21 points last week.
I
I
don't
mean,
feel as if I understand why folks get I mean, hell, we even saw Travis Kelce score a touchdown last week with Matt Moore under center. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that was awesome because I'm a
yes, it
Kelsey
was.
owner.
That was a rainbow. Reading rainbow. Anyway, you don't even know what that's from. You're
I
probably
know where that's from, but I just don't make that reference like ever.
well, you should. You're gonna brush up on your references, Sam.
I prefer the one where it's the more you know with the star. I like that one.
Would you be my neighbor? Could you be mine? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Let's get off PBS channel and let's move on to some other topics.
Sure.
The kiss stealing. Woo! Wheeling dealing. Adam Thielen. So when it comes to Kirk Cousins, who seems to have kind of found his rhythm in this offense
Mhm.
and has been playing better. He's another injured guy and he may be back this week, but if Thielen is on the show or Thielen is on the trade block, I mean, we've seen this guy rattle off 8 games for over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown to start a year. I mean, is he worth making like some of the guys that we mentioned, whether it be Sutton or McLaurin or anybody else? Are they worth trading to go and get Thielen right now while he's injured? Or do you just ride with those guys?
I would keep Thielen just with how consistent and the number one that he is for Minnesota, for Cousins. I would rather keep him over those 2 that we just mentioned. Just trying to debate who I'd rather have over him. I mean, it's number ones all the way. So it's hard to say who I would take that's a lesser player than Thielen for me.
So you're in a hold situation.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not-
holding on. I'm holding tight. I'm never letting go, unlike in Titanic when
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, Jack
I'm
Dawson.
no, I'm sorry. I'm
You have to
holding
be
on.
particular. It's Jack Dawson.
Yeah, Jack Dawson. Everybody knows Rose and Jack. Duh.
All right. So we've already kind of covered. I mean, if anybody else has any other questions, please hit us up in the comments right now because we're going to kind of be wrapping up here. We got our final debate, and I've got something I want to bring up. What are your feelings on burner accounts? If you're someone in the public eye and you're someone that apparently is of weak conscience and gets easily flustered, but is not allowed to speak out against those haters or naysayers on the Twitterverse.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Because actually, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers general manager, Jason Licht, is being not only accused, but allegedly has himself a burner account named like Jameis 1 of 1, in which he was kind of caught trying to defend his boy, Jameis Winston.
Wow.
So what in the hell? Like, what are your feelings on if somebody has a burner account? What does that say about them?
I feel like it's two-sided. So on one side, having a burner account, having that venting, being able to get all of that out, that's probably very healthy just to get, all of those thoughts and stuff out there. But to make one just so that you can go out of your way to track down the trolls that are trolling you, it's a little bit kind of like, shouldn't you just let it go and kind of move on and not let those things bother you? I think burner accounts are hilarious for like just going on and making jokes and leaving shenanigans all over the internet. But I think that it's a little bit ridiculous to take that much time out of your day in life to then try and track down those people and go after your haters in that way.
I feel like if you want to go ahead and go after your haters, then go ahead and go after your haters, but do it with your name. Like, don't be a little sissy about it.
Unless you got, Derek Tate's burner account as your @handle.
Now that
would be pretty solid.
That'd be something I'd get behind.
I'm gonna have to go see if that's available.
I think there's better ways to troll people, though. I think there's honestly better ways to troll people. So
there definitely are. We do have one more question that just jumped in there.
Can I want to go ahead.
No, I want to answer the question.
I wasn't done, damn it. But I'll go ahead and answer Josh's question real quick. Yes.
Start Kelce versus Minnesota or Ingram versus Dallas. Opponent this week is Daniel Jones at quarterback.
I don't think that ever starting a player because your opposing team is starting the quarterback is ever a sound strategy. Like, don't let that go into your decision process. And when it comes to my opinion, it always comes to start your studs for the most part. I mean, unless there are extenuating circumstances, you can say what you want about Matt Moore, but I thought he was looking for Kelce early and often in that game against the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
So for me, I'm personally going to be still starting Kelce. Nothing against Ingram, who's had himself a decent season, a little bit up and down, but I'm still going to go with Kelce.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very good game for Ingram, but I'm with Tate. I've got to go with Kelce on this week as well.
We do have another question from Will Jenkins before I can sound off on what I didn't get to finish, Sam. This is why you don't touch my board.
I like driving the car. Thanks for your question, Will. Half point PPR for your flex. John Brown, Sony Michel, or Sammy Watkins?
Okay, so nothing against John Brown, but it's more so Josh Allen. I don't trust Josh Allen. And it seems as if every favorable cupcake matchup he's had through the air this year, he's underwhelmed against the Cincinnati Bengals, against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I know that the Eagles, don't get me wrong, that was tough conditions, real windy game, all that. But Josh Allen has not taken a significant step up as a quarterback. He has not improved. Like, you know how we saw last year, right? Where we saw Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen both, had this incredible ability to be able to run the football, even at the quarterback spot. And they look like fantasy dynamos, potentially, right? Guess which one of them is a much improved passer? It's Lamar Jackson, without a doubt. And that scares me for Josh Allen because he still makes, at times, just boneheaded decisions with the football. It's not even like bad decisions. It's boneheaded, terrible throws, stuff. A high school quarterback. I'd be upset at a high school quarterback for making these decisions. So that's where I kind of stand with it. I don't want anything to do with John Brown. I'm going Sony Michel easily over Sammy Watkins. I want nothing to do with the glass man now that Tyreek Hill's back. Yeah, now that Tyreek Hill is back, that completely dissuades me from Sammy Watkins. I know that Sony Michel also has a tough matchup against the Ravens, but I am in a complete agreement with you there. Between those three, I would have to go Sony Michel. Who's getting more guaranteed touches? For me, it's easily Sony Michel, and I know that
getting all the touches.
Yeah, Watkins can do his thing, but it's still, to me, easily with a backup quarterback. It's Michel all day.
All day. Now that we've answered
what I was saying.
Yes. So wait, let me set you up properly then. Derek, what do you think of burner accounts?
So burner accounts, if you I'm a firm believer that you don't have a burner account. If you want to say something, you say it, but people know it's you saying it.
Kind of like that episode of Parks and Rec with Ron Swanson where he just writes letters to people to give stars to vegan places. 0 stars.
Even if I endorse giving it a personal hand signature with a whatever marker you want, pen, etc. So if you want to say something, go ahead. Like Kevin Durant, Jason Light, come on. Like a burner account, come on, be bigger than that. Just if you want to say something, you want to defend something, then defend it. But be able to answer for yourself. Don't do it under the anonymity of the internet. That's cowardly. be a man, like be a damn man or be a damn woman and just stand there and do it yourself.
If you believe in it, attach your name to it, as Ron Swanson would say.
Bingo. Attach your name to it if you believe in it. Personally, I had so I do sports anchoring as my day job, and
you're on TV.
I wasn't saying it that way. I was saying that
saying it for you.
But some asshole decided to go ahead and say, and yes, I called him an asshole, and that's fine. I'll stand by that. He was an asshole. He was really mean, and said that I graduated from probably failed out of the William Shatner School of Overacting. And so what do? I don't respond to him on Facebook or wherever he put the comment. I went ahead and included a troll job into my next sportscast. And I did a William Shatner impersonation just to go ahead and jab at that guy. So there are many ways to troll your haters. If you want to go ahead and troll them or you want to respond to them, either be a man about it or be a woman about it and just respond and put your name on it, or go ahead and respond in a different manner, replying indirectly to their hate. That's what I got.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I mean, we read that last week before the podcast, and I did have to laugh about that. That was pretty funny. Just what he said. It was funny. Like, it was cleverly written. But I do really love the way that you took it and the way that you spinned it on him, because he probably saw that and was just like, what?
This man just quoted Priceline Negotiator on a sportcast. Yes, I did. And yes, I pulled it off.
Yes, you did.
Uncle Pete, who kept the Saints alive when Breeze was out? Who kept the Saints alive when Breeze was out? It was definitely Teddy Bridgewater, but guess who came back and threw 3 tutties like he'd been in mid-season form for off the couch? It was Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the better quarterback. No offense to Teddy Bridgewater. He did a great job, and he probably earned himself a starting position with another team next season because of how he played in Drew Brees' stead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I've always loved Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like he's a great player. He's he's just one of those cool, good-hearted people. You just want to see him do well. I want to see him find the right team that's going to really cater to all of his staff, all of his talents. And I hope for the best for Bridgewater. So hopefully, with how great he performed while Breeze was away, next year he'll be with another team.
Can I ask you, is it acceptable to say that you just want to give Teddy a hug? You love his play. You just want to give Teddy a big old hug. Give a teddy bear a big old hug.
Just a big old hug. Be my friend.
Speaking of big old friends, Sam and I are friends, and this has been another fun episode of the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate. So again, if it's your first time joining us, whether it be on YouTube or if you're coming across our podcast on however you digest your podcast, whether it be on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, just go ahead and subscribe and drop us a review. We really appreciate any and all of the support. I saw Nick Bird in the comments. Sam, I saw you smiling.
He just jumped in.
Do we have to throw anything up there?
Yeah, we do. Nick was really sweet and saying hi to us, and he also, he paid me a little compliment. Sam with that Pennywise costume was badass.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
That was bomb. You went all in on that. Was, seriously, mad golf clap type props.
Thank you. For those that didn't see or would like to, you can go on my Instagram at Sam_awesome and see me dressed as Pennywise, the clown from It, for Halloween this past weekend. And it took me about 4 to 5 hours to do the entire makeup. So totally worth it to just go over there, click, and just see the job that it took.
You took 4 or 5 hours to do that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was.
I'm not gonna say it. It was awesome.
Yeah. It was legit. Yeah. No,
it was definitely legit. It was definitely legit.
One of the best parts about that costume was I walked into this party, and it was one of those parties where I knew someone at the party, but I didn't know the person whose house it was at. So I walk in, and I'm like, "Hey guys," and everyone's just looking at me like, "Who is this person?" Because I don't recognize anyone, and they don't recognize me. So I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, big gulps, eh? You just gotta keep walking through the party until I find my people. And then
Oh, no, that's awesome. That's awesome.
No. But like an hour in, this girl comes up to me. She's like, hi. I'm like, hey. She's like, I'm sorry. I had to say hi because I couldn't be scared of you the entire night. And I was like, she didn't want to talk to me, but she was like, I don't want to go home later and then regret not like being too afraid to talk to this person.
So here's a little Halloween fun fact as we are recording right now on the day before October 30th, before Halloween.
Halloween.
There is a costume that Sam and I have in common. If anybody can guess what that is, I will buy them tickets to an NFL football game. You will likely never be able to guess that stuff. But if you can hit us in the comments. You can hit us on any of the DMs, direct messaging, or anything like that on Instagram or any of our other accounts. If you can guess what costume for Halloween that Sam and I have in common. We once dressed up as the same thing.
Not knowing it. But I
mean, we didn't plan it.
No, we didn't plan it. Yeah. No, it's just.
Why do you think we were kindred spirits and eventually end up doing our own podcast together? That's part of the reason why. That's part of the reason why. But also, as we mentioned before, though, happy Halloween.
Happy
Halloween. For joining us again for another episode of the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by the original Hooters. Sam, sign off line.
Just have a happy and safe Halloween, guys. If you want to go ahead and give us a follow and a like, you can find Derek on Twitter at dtater4 on all actual social medias. Myself, I'm on Twitter at Samantha R. Holt, and again, my Instagram is at Sam_awesome. And go ahead and follow the Fantasy Debate as well on Instagram at the Fantasy Debate. We always post stuff there, any news, mentions, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and send them to us.
And until next time, later, says the Tater.